Hi everyone, Paul here. I need to make a pair of, or I'm making a pair of 18 karat yellow gold earrings, and I need earring posts for them. And so I thought I'd show you how I make earring posts. You can just buy them, but honestly, there really isn't any that's very good quality. So I usually just make my own. So I think they're much better. So I start off with .85 hard drawn 18 karat yellow wire because I'm making 18 karat yellow earrings. So, I've drawn this, I don't know, at least 5 dies. Anyways, at least 5 holes on my draw plate to make it nice and stiff. Because your earring wire should be hard. Now, the first thing I do, which I've already done, is I use my flush cutters, and I use the cut the wire on the inside so it makes a sharp point here because I'm gonna laser this post onto the earring so that it doesn't lose any hardness from soldering on in place, right? And you can solder it if you have to, if you don't have a laser, and then you just want to cut it flat instead of pointed. But because I'm lasering it on, I cut it pointed like that. So I use the inside cut of my flush cutters because it makes more of a point. Then next thing I do is I make the post 11.5 millimeters long. So I go to my gauge and I just mark on the wire, and then I just snip that sucker off like so. And then I take a cup burr, and the ones I like are Bush. Most of the burrs I use are Bush. This is a 411 CT, and I'm using a 1.1 millimeter. This is a twin cut cup burr, and I don't know if you can see, but it's shaped like a cone and it just fits in nicely to all kinds of places, and it cuts really fast. So these are the ones I like to use. So just buzz that the end of that wire down till it's round and smooth, like so. All right. Then I get my pin vise, and I start off. I put my wire in my pin vise and just kind of snug it up. Now I double notch my posts. So the first notch that I make, I start out at 2.5 millimeters. So I set my gauge at 2.5 millimeters, like so. Now, most of you probably know this, but some of you may not. Your gauge will measure here, and it'll also measure here, but it also measures here, right? So if you have to measure down into a slot, or you want something to protrude a certain distance, you can use this end. So I want 2.5 millimeters protruding. So I'm going to go to this end, and I'm just going to slide that in like that. Now I have 2.5 millimeters sticking out. And then I'm going to tighten this up here so it's snug. Now, before I put my bench pin in place, this is called a joint edge file, or a slitting file, or a slotting file. Most commonly I see them called joint edge files, but this one here is 0.7 millimeters thick. I know because I've already, here, look, just so you can see, it's 0.7 millimeters thick. And so using my pin vise and my bench pin and my joint edge file, I just slowly notch this post as I twirl the pin vise as I'm running the file across it till I get to what I consider is an appropriate depth, right? So a little bit of practice and the way it feels on the butterfly or friction back that you're using will get you where you want to be as far as how much you should notch that. And the next notch I make is at 3.8 millimeters. So now I'm going to set my gauge to 3.8. I'm going to loosen my pin vise, slide my wire out, and repeat the same thing here. So my wire's protruding 3.8. So they're now sticking out 3.8, and I do the same thing over again. And that's pretty much it. So that gives you a nice double notched post. Hold this up so hopefully you can see it there. Okay. Now, talk about earring backs for a second. I like jumbo backs, and in particular, I like the jumbo backs from W.R. Cobb. It's a very plain looking back, but it's the metal is substantially, you know, it's quite heavy. It is 0.4 millimeters thick, which is thicker than most, honestly. So it's 0.4 millimeters thick, and it's big, so it helps keep your earrings from drooping or whatever. Now, real quick about ear nuts. These ones are 18 karat palladium white, so that's good for two reasons, right? Well, let's just say platinum ear nuts are terrible, right? Platinum is dead. It has really no spring to it whatsoever. And so any ear nuts that you buy that are made out of platinum, the customer puts them on a couple, 3 times, and then they're loose, right? And then their earring falls out and they lose it and they're upset. So even when I make platinum earrings, I put an 18 karat white palladium white gold post on it and an 18 karat palladium white ear nut on it, because it's palladium white. It still has enough spring to, you know, be a good finding, but there's no nickel, so there's no nickel allergy for the ear, right? So W.R. Cobb is about the only place you can buy these or buy any ear nuts and be assured, because it's a special thing for them that they're made out of 18 karat palladium white gold metal, right? And you can see right there, it's 18K white PD, right? And there's the style number. Anyways, so you got your double notch here, and you can see when you put one of these ear nuts on here, just how click, and if you have to push it on further, you push it on further. But at any rate, there it is, locked on there. And I mean, they're never going to lose that earring. It's just gripped right on there, right? And if you want to see how that works out as far as depth is concerned, okay, so once you laser it on, it leaves about that amount, whatever it is. I don't know, 6 millimeters, maybe something like that, 5.5 millimeters for the earlobe on the second notch, which, you know, they'll probably push it on a little tighter or a little snugger than that, but some people have thicker earlobes, and then this works out, you know, just to really be a good length. And if you're concerned, you can always start at 12 millimeters instead of 11.5. Now, I'm going to supply 18 karat yellow friction backs for these instead of the 18 karat palladium white, but, you know, if you're making platinum earrings, I strongly suggest that you use a 18 karat palladium white gold post and an 18 karat palladium white gold friction back, because it maintains its spring, and the palladium white ear nut is not going to wear out the platinum post, right? So you got to have matching metal so it doesn't wear it out. Anyways, hope that helps somebody, and have a great day. I'll talk to you later.